There are several occasions where Jesus says, "It's for this reason that I come," and on all those occasions, he's speaking either about preaching the word or healing people and casting out demons. Of course, this is very clear that what Jesus means is that he has come for freedom, right? Christ has come to set us free for freedom's sake, right? All of the scripture that talks about freedom in the New Testament. And so it's through the preaching of the word, it's through the healing miracles that direct us to the actual event of Christ's freeing us, which is his obedience unto death on a cross. That God emptied himself of his divinity. He condescended to take on our flesh so that he could bring into our world, into our experience, that which was necessary to be free. He took on the form of a slave, all right, Paul says, that we might, by his slavery, become free men. And so when we look at the Hebrews here, since the children share blood and flesh, Jesus likewise shared with them. Christ comes into our world, comes into our experience to know and to experience and to understand everything that is the human condition and to accomplish, to succeed at it, where we always fail, right? There are two phrases that always kind of drive me nuts more than anything else, because they're sort of they're like pathetic, irresponsible phrases. One is, "I'm only human." I'm only human, right? And what are we saying when we say that? It means I cannot be good, right? What we're doing when we say that is we're giving ourselves a cop-out. Right? I'm only human. Well, you're going to only be human forever. Like, you're never not going to be human, right? So what are you saying? Are you saying that you're always a miserable wretch, like you're always a failure? Because that's what we're saying. If in a moment we say, "Oh, I'm only human," well, what we've done, if we say I'm only human in my worst moments, and we're defining what humanity is by our failure. Why don't we look at Christ and say, now Christ, of course, wasn't only human, but he was absolutely human, right? What if we said in our moments of success? What if we said in our greatest victory, when we obeyed God most perfectly, we served him best, wonderful fruit came out of our labors, and we said, "I'm only human. This is the Lord ennobling what I do. I'm only human. Look at what the Lord has to do with what he's given me. Look at how the Lord has come into our humanity and made it nobler and richer and higher and more glorious," right? I'm only human. That's a better tone. That's a Christian tone, right, to that phrase. It's not this cop-out. The other one is this: God will understand. Yeah, I didn't come to Mass on Sunday because I stubbed my toe and I got out of bed and then my coffee was cold. So, God will understand, though. Will he? No, Bill, no, you're right, he won't. Because he does understand. He took on our flesh, and he does understand, and he did it right. So he knows that even though in our broken, disordered nature, it's going to be impossible for us alone to do it right, that with his help, we can do it. So when we say God will understand, what we're saying is I am not going to care enough, I'm not going to try enough, and I'm not going to invite God into my life enough to do it right. And I'm just going to bank on him just being forgiving. You know what that is? You know what sin that is? Presumption. It's the sin of presumption. When we say God will understand, we're committing a grave sin of presumption. It's a grave sin, right? You need to go to confession. After those words come out of your mouth, you need to go to confession, right? Because you're presuming that God will do something that he's already done in a different way and told us that's not the way he's doing it this way, right? God will understand. Yes, he will understand. He took on our flesh so that he can understand. And in his understanding, he said, "Do this." And when you didn't do it, you can't say he'll understand, because he does understand, right? This isn't to say that God is unsympathetic to our failures. Again, he came to free us of our brokenness. What is to say is that we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We need to say, what ought I do today? And then set out as if you can actually accomplish it with God's help. Ask for God's help, and then see it through to the end. And if it becomes imperfect through human weakness or failure throughout the day, don't try to write it off and justify it and presume on God's mercy, but acknowledge, I failed today. The Lord will make perfect what I have failed to do, but I did fail. I'm going to try to do better tomorrow. Guys, it's really important that we do live our lives as if we are only human. But know what that means now that Christ himself has become human. It means a lot more than we're just a broken pile of flesh that bumbles through life getting less right than we get wrong. It means that we've been divinized. It means that we're citizens of heaven. To be only human means that we are destined for perfection. And we need to rise to the occasion. We need to stand up and claim that destiny. Move toward it. Yeah, with a halting step, sure. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, fine. But always forward, excelsior, always to the heights. To know who you are. To let that pathetic, feeble phrase of I'm only human, or God will understand, to mean what it really, truly ought to mean. That God does understand. And he has made the fact that I am only human something beautiful and noble and heroic and courageous and strong and destined for heaven.